This video is brought to you by Holocasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description. Hello and welcome everyone to our 127th session of Holocasa. My name is Michael and today I'm talking to Jim Fite, President and CEO of Century 21 Judge Fite Company in Dallas, Texas. Jim started his real estate career at 18 years old, becoming the youngest agent in Texas. He's passionate about giving back, founding the Judge Fite Charitable Foundation 2017, and holds several prestigious real estate certifications. Outside of work, Jim enjoys time with his wife, grandchildren, and supporting charities across North Texas. Thank you so much for your time, Jim. One thing we're definitely going to talk about is your book release, Success Through a Recession. I'm really honored to have you on the show, especially since you're there covering your 50 years of experience in real estate. And the floor is yours, Jim. I'm very happy to have you on the show. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, I think you just did, Michael. I don't know what else to say. I grew up in the real estate brokerage business. My father and mother before me. And as you said, started at 18. Back then, you had to be 21 to get your real estate license. And they actually took me in front of a judge and had my disabilities of a minor removed, which meant I was of legal age. I never knew if they did that just to get rid of me or to get my real estate license. But I think it was to get my real estate license because I worked with my parents all the way through their life. And, you know, it's just been a good ride. My sister and I bought the company from our parents in 1977, and we had one office and 8 people. Today, we're actually in Texas and Oklahoma, and we have 28 offices, about 1,200 real estate professionals. We're in the title business. We have mortgage relationship. We have a very large property management company. We have a real estate school. We don't do pre-licensing. We do post-licensing credits for our real estate professionals. We also, I'm probably leaving, insurance agency. We have a very strong and successful vendor network that our agents and clients work with that are realtor friendly. And relocation. We're very big in global relocation, very big. About 9% of our closed units, as well as about 13% of our volume comes from global relocation. So we're very proud of that and been doing that for over 50 years. When I started in the company, my dad actually was part of a relocation network way back when. And of course, it's done nothing but grow and develop. So there's a little background on where we are today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let's start from the beginning. Your motivation to even start into real estate. I think when I was 18, I just wanted to play football and basketball and wasn't really business affine. How come you chose that? Was it from your parents? Was it from your family? Or was it a different trigger which basically made you jump into real estate?
So for your listeners out there, Michael, I'll go into a little more personal background. I have language and learning disabilities. I'm what they call mixed dominant and dyslexic. As a result of that, long before schools tested for that sort of thing, my mother and father recognized that I couldn't read very well, but they got me help. You know, they took me to special schools. I can't tell you how many years I went to schools after my public schooling. They'd pick me up and take me to get tutoring and various things. Through that, in my high school days, I actually took a lot of exams, or mom and dad took me in those vocational studies. You know, what would I be good at in my adulthood? And actually, real estate sales was at the top of the list. Now, maybe because it's in my blood, what they call here an SOB, son of a broker. Son of 2 brokers, actually. And so, you know, that was certainly in my blood, but it was also apparently in my brain. And so I actually graduated from high school a semester early, not because I was smart, but I could figured out how to get out of school quickly, and went to college for the first semester, played cards, went off to college the fall semester, and chased girls and joined a fraternity. The rest is history. Caught a girl, came back at 18, told my parents I wanted to quit college, go to work selling real estate, get married at 18. Not a good idea, by the way. But somehow that happened. I bought my first house at 18, $200 down, $148 a month. And bought my second house at 19, rental house. I still own that house today, Michael. 51 years later, still own my first rent house. And, from there, it just, took off. I sold real estate actively for 5 years. Went to a special school at Texas A&M University. I guess it's important to say, when I told my parents I wanted to come back and sell real estate, they said on 2 conditions. Number one, you never stop learning. Therefore, I want you to read, study, or think an hour a day, 5 days a week for the rest of your life. And pretty much, I've done that an hour a day, 5 days a week. Some days I'll skip a day and do 2 or 3 hours. But I've read, study, and thinking is a big deal for me. Just sit back, think, what have I learned? What can we implement? Done that for 52 years. And then he being dad, said, you never stop learning. So I want you to sit in the classroom 12 days a year or more for the rest of your life. And I've sat in the classroom 12 to over 30 days a year. I just got back from Washington, D.C. at a conference. I'll be leaving Sunday for another 3 days for another meeting where I'll be sitting and learning. So these are things that are very important to me personally, professionally, and our company and our growth. So there's the background. Sold real estate. Jan and I bought the company and started growing it, and here we are today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I have one question in between regarding cash flowing or cash flow generating real estate. Since you started so long, honestly, and you don't need to answer that question, but my honest question is like, how long did it take you to be actually able to retire from cash flow generating real estate? Wasn't that already in your 20s when you were smart enough to already have your first listings paid off, or did you go another strategy, another route?
So I've been buying real estate, as I said, 51 years. This morning, in my thinking time, I analyzed 2 properties that were sent to me yesterday. And I'm probably not going to buy either one of them. But the fact is, I'm still looking. I bought one property I guess so this is the last one I bought last October, November, somewhere in there. I pay cash for all my properties now. I didn't in the beginning. In the beginning, I was assuming assumable notes legally. Let me make that very clear. Back then, you could assume notes. And so I was assuming notes, and then ultimately I would save for my down payment. And I've hardly ever lived on any of my rental income, Michael. I've taken the cash flow, either bought more property, built up my cash so I could buy more, or I've paid down my mortgages. And they're all free and clear today. My home, my lake house, I owe nobody anything as far as my personal life or my business. We're a debt-free company.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I was very, very curious. Now, let's dive into the status right now of the situation of real estate in Dallas and also the Texas area. You are covering North Texas and going a bit even north outside of state, and maybe also regarding the entire movement and migration, which I sometimes come across from Europe towards Texas, people leaving California, going to Texas, for example. Austin is always mentioned as a very interesting city. Can you give us maybe an overview there of your region? What's the status there regarding real estate?
Sure. Let me take you back 3 or 4 years first. And I know that's in the middle of COVID, but just the last 2 to 5 years, we have definitely had an influx of people moving from especially California. That would be the biggest migration. A lot of reasons for that if you want to get into that, but certainly that has helped our economy. Of course, the real estate values there are so much higher than the Dallas-Fort Worth, North Texas area where our primary locations are, and Oklahoma as far as that goes. So we've had a lot of people move from the West Coast, especially California, Oregon, Washington, some on the East Coast for sure, and then, as you mentioned, some around the world. I will say that that has slowed this year. We don't see the influx as much as it was. Don't know exactly why that is. I mean, we could all play politics and talk about that if we wanted to get into that, and I really don't. But the fact is, we have why do they move here? Let me approach that for a minute. First of all, it's a business climate. And Texans do business. We're business people. Dallas, Fort Worth in particular, there's no reason for it to be here. We aren't on a coast. Certainly the railroad helped back when it came through. But the fact is we don't have any kind of seaport to bring trade into DFW. So it's all rail and trucking. Now, the good news is we're in the central time zone. That's a really good thing. We have an incredible airport, even though we do have thunderstorms and tornadoes come through here some. But, the fact is we are here because of people. We are here because of business people and people that reach out throughout the world to bring business to our area. And it works very well. So if I were going to zero in, I would say 1, business and the people here. 3, that'd be 1 and 2. Number 3 would be taxes. We don't have a state income tax, and therefore that's very attractive to people that live in other parts of the United States anyway. And we're still affordable when you compare us to the East Coast and the West Coast. And then you throw in the central time zone and the fact that you can get on a plane in DFW and fly pretty much anywhere in the world you want to go without stopping. You can go to the East Coast or West Coast in 2 to 3 hours, depending if you're going way north or whatever, but generally 2 to 3 hours. You can be in the Caribbean in that same length of time. You can be on the beaches in Florida. So you're that central location of the United States is very, very important to our commerce as well as just the quality of life. And then you add to that the quality of life. The arts are very big here. Sports, you may have heard of some of our sports teams, the Texas Rangers, Dallas Cowboys, Mavericks. Sports is a big deal in Texas. Friday Night Lights, it's big from, high school on up. So all of these things contribute to quality of life, entertainment centers, you name it, we've got it. And then you add to that taxes and time zone, and we're attractive to the rest of the world.
Makes total sense. Yeah, since I'm German, obviously I'm cheering for the Dallas Mavericks since Dirk Nowitzki has brought the first ring to the Dallas Mavericks. I am interviewing many people from Latin America, and I know that there's always, like, from Colombia, from Venezuela, from other Latin American countries, it's always a very strong influx, mainly to Florida, to the Miami region, but also to Texas. When you say relocation, is my assumption correct that you are talking mainly about Latin Americans, or is it also from Asia and Europe and different parts of the world?
Different parts of the world. We have become, in the last 15, 20 years, a melting pot. We speak in our company, and I always say this, the last count, in other words, I don't watch that every day, but about once a year, I'll contact our HR department and say, okay, how many languages do we speak in our company? They'll give me a report because we keep track of that, because we have people coming in and they want to speak Japanese, or they want to speak Chinese, or they want to speak Spanish or German or French or whatever. So we speak, the last count I had, which was in the spring, was 36 different languages, including American Sign and including sign language. So, basically we have somebody moving in from around the world. Odds are we have a real estate professional, and odds are we have a relocation specialist. We have a relocation certification that our relocation agents have to go through to serve these clients. And so we can speak their language if they wish. Pretty much all of our documents, all of our presentations, because our second largest population would be the Hispanic population. And so all of our presentations, documents, forms, et cetera, and I say all, the vast majority of them are in English and in Spanish. So we certainly cater to that world, and we have, I think, 15%, and it may even be more than that now, but I think it's 15% of our real estate professionals speak Spanish. So we have a lot of people that are bilingual in Spanish.
Among many people, how many people did you say? Is it 1,200 or 12,000? I didn't.
No, yeah, we have 1,200 real estate professionals, and then we have another 130, 140 employees.
Perfect. Okay. It's actually interesting because, as you might know, one of the key concepts of Hello Casa is always the relocation. So cross-border, and also making sure that on the one hand, people looking for a real estate agent are in a different country who speaks the language via the browser feature, but also obviously broker-to-broker deals across border. Since I also interview many from the US, I always had the impression that US is very much inside its bubble, and the international influx is actually not that exposed to the US. So actually, you're one of the first people who have this exposure, which is very nice, and I think it's a very interesting competitive edge. Let's go into the question regarding. I'm wondering about Century 21 brand, but then also your company. Can you explain me how the dynamics work there? You are a franchise by Century 21, but you're still fully functioning and operational on your own. Maybe you can give the audience a little bit of an overview there regarding the dynamics.
Sure. So the Judge Fite Company is a 87-year-old company. My mother and father founded in 1937. My sister and I bought it in 1977. We grew by 1997. We had about 100 real estate agents, real estate professionals, and 4 offices. And quite honestly, Michael, we could not make a profit. We fed our families. We, had a lifestyle of what it was. But, as the world turns, we needed to do something different, because that's a very difficult size for a real estate company in our marketplace, and I would say pretty much around the country. So we needed to do something. We had 2 offers to buy us on the table, and of course, franchises have been dripping on us and whining and dining us all of the years, because even though we were a smaller, medium-sized company in our market, we were attractive to bring into a franchise. And so we started looking at our options. We had these 2 people that wanted to buy us. What would that mean to us personally and professionally, as 2 individuals? And so we looked at all the franchises, all of them that were available at the time. Won't call any names, but you can imagine who they might have been. By the way, some of them are out of business now. I'm glad we didn't go that way. And so we decided, we looked at DFW in particular, and at the time there were 64 Century 21s in DFW. Most of them were small. few of them were fairly large, again, large, medium-sized to large companies. And so we looked at their footprint and said, you know what, we could, and we had the opportunity to buy the number 2 Century 21 in the market. We were in southern Dallas County, they were in northern Dallas and Collin County, and they wanted to sell. And so we decided that this was a good thing for us. We could buy their company. We could double the size of our company in a day, where they had about 100 people as well. And so we said, this is a good thing. Let's pursue this, see if we can make a deal. And we did. In the meantime, one of the other Century 21s, the number 3 broker in the Metroplex, he was in the mid-cities, Dallas, Fort Worth, mid-cities would be in the middle. He had 2 offices and about 50 agents, and he called and he said, hey, I understand you're doing something. I said, no, we're not. I don't know what you're talking about, because you got to keep all this confidential. Well, if you were doing something, I'd love to visit with you. So we met the following Monday, and he said he wanted to be part of it, wanted to bring his mortgage company, which he owned, into our entire operation. So there's a definite value to him in his mortgage operation. And he gave us, we bought both companies the same day and announced it the same day, July 7th, 1997. He brought his mortgage company into our company, and we had the option of buying half of that mortgage company within 2 years. We exercised that in 18 months. We bought his property management company as well, and we're off to the races. Now we have, I think it was 9 offices and 250 agents in one day. And our dream and our goals were to bring all of those 64 companies into ours. And here we are 27 years later. I believe there are 9 Century 21s left in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and we have pretty much acquired all the rest of them. And so we brought that back office, our other businesses, into those companies, into those offices. And so here we are today. By the way, we've bought over 70 companies in the last 25 years. I quit counting at 70. We bought 5 in the last year, as an example. And so we're growing through mergers and acquisitions. We're growing through organic. We have a very robust recruiting platform as well. And of course, we bought in Oklahoma. That's our first venture outside. We did that in January of this year, 5 offices up there. So that's kind of the history. Century 21 is a global company, as we have already talked about. The value of referrals throughout the world is priceless. And the knowledge, brainstorming that we are able to do with each other and keep it confidential is priceless. You just can't get that kind of brain trust without a franchise or without some sort of organized real estate that is bigger than you. And I truly believe that the brainstorming group that I'm part of, we wouldn't be in business without them.
Makes sense. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the overview. Coming back a little bit to your entire trajectory, you have been in the business now for over 50 years. What do you think, and you mentioned it before regarding the ongoing training, the reading, what do you think apart from that? Is it also coming to your book like in a passive way, but do you think it's only mindset? Do you think it's only technical skills? What do you think is especially in the real estate industry to step in, but also to remain successful and competitive? What do you think is there the secret sauce?
Well, you said it earlier, so I'll just repeat what you said, and that's the people. The foundation of any organization is their people. It's either good or it's bad. You either put, quoting Jim Collins, good to great, the one thing in that book that you'd walk away with, if you don't walk away with anything else, which there's a lot of good stuff in there, is you put the right people in the right seat on the bus. And if you don't put the right people, if you don't get the right people, if you're not able to retain them, bring them on, then they will not be what you need in your organization. And they've got to fit your culture. which brings me to core values. If you don't have your core values in writing, they're not distributed throughout your entire organization on a regular basis. We start every meeting we have with reciting our core values. They are critical to our success. They're the foundation of our company because the people live by the core values. And if they don't belong here. That's just foundational the way it works. And then the other thing is, if you go back to Earl Nightingale, one of the great motivational speakers of our time, maybe not your time, but my time, he says there are four parts to a successful business. There is finance. You got to control your money. You have to understand your money. You have to manage it well in and out in the difficult times, tough times, or the good times. So money is very important. Production. In our real estate brokerage business, you've got to have listings. If you don't have listings, you're going to die. These companies out here that work buyers only, by the way, they never get large. They might work with their friends and might sell them a house or two or 10 or 20 or 50 or 100. That's okay. But I will tell you, you show me a large company and you're going to show me a top listing company. That's the way it is. You don't have inventory, you're not going to make the big leagues or the big companies. Number three, you got to have sales. You got to work with buyers. Buyers buy listings. If you have listings, but you don't have any buyers, you're out of business. So that's important. And then research and development. In real estate, research and development, I've zeroed in that it's all about training. It's training your people, educating them, keeping them up to date with what's going on in the marketplace, with laws, what happens in Washington, how does that affect us in Texas and Oklahoma, what happens at the city council level, the state level. All of these things are critical to your growth and development of your people. And when you grow your people, you grow you. I believe in the Zig Ziglar philosophy. If you help enough other people get what they want, you get what you want. Without people, you're done.
What do you think, or how do you ensure getting inventory into your portfolio? I think that's always the biggest challenge, correct?
Well, it's the biggest challenge for agents, therefore it's the biggest challenge for a company. So you've got to have the listing mindset, and competence breeds confidence. So if you're competent in pricing property, if you're competent in presentation of what you can do to get a property on the market that property and get it sold, if you're competent in communicating that to a client, if you're competent in getting appointments, I left that out. That should be on the front end of that presentation. If you're competent, then that builds the confidence so that when I'm talking to Michael at your breakfast table, you can trust me and you like me. If you don't like me and you don't trust me, you won't do business with me. The only reason you like me and trust me because I'm competent, I'm confident, and I show that skill set of trust.
Makes sense. Absolutely. How many listings do you have right now in your portfolio under your name?
Excuse me. I should know that in my head because I see that scorecard every Thursday, but yeah, I know. I would say we have about 400 active listings, and we have that many or more pending. That's the good news. We don't want them on the market. We want them sold. And therefore, that's what we look for. We try to get them on the market and we try to get them sold. Otherwise, our clients don't like us, and that's not a good thing. But when we can get them on the market, get them sold, they're happy.
Do you have any average? I know some are much more in high demand and some are not, but right now in Dallas area, what is the average holding rate or inventory duration of a listing, what you have? How long does it take for you to sell one?
So the days on market average right now, and I should say this is July 24, is 45 days. We were down in the teens in the last few years. So definitely that number is going up. Kind of interesting. The average, what we consider a good market historically has been 6 months of inventory. 6 months of inventory at any one time. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area now, we are at 4 months. There was a time a couple of years ago that we were at 3 weeks. So that is definitely going up. We are getting more listings on the market. Our sales are pretty much flat, but you know, that the good news is we're getting more inventory on the market. We see a little better break in interest rates, which is coming our way, we hope.
Yep.
And that we should have a robust fourth quarter. Those are the predictions out there. We'll see if that happens or not.
Absolutely. I now want to talk about your book, Success Through a Recession. The first question I'm having actually, what is for you the recession we have to think of when you talk about your recession in the book?
Well, me and my sister have led this company through 7 recessions. So it's not one, it's a bunch of them. And I'll just give you I was president of the Greater Dallas Association of Realtors in 1986. It was the beginning of the recession from 86 to 92. I was, as the leader of that organization, I was interviewed many, many times by many, many networks, papers, you name it. I mean, you know, they didn't have podcasts back then, but if they had, I would have been on them. And so I was in this board of directors meeting during that year. President got a gavel, which I never use gavels. I don't like gavels. Rather talk to people and their level. Anyway, so I asked the board of directors, I believe there were 22 board members, and I said, okay, I want to go around the room and I want you to talk about your marketplace and what's going on right now. So started to my left and they went around the room and they talked about their market and what was going on, because we have sub-markets, you know, in DFW. It's a big geographic area. So we get over here to the right-hand side, probably number 14, 15, 16 person, and the leader of a very large company, much, much larger than our company at the time, she goes drama on me. And what I mean by that, I mean, it was, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to survive. And she goes on and on. I'll take the drama out of it for a minute, but she just went on and on and on. And Michael, you don't know me, but I can take it to a level, and then I get to that level and I'm done. I don't want to hear that stuff anymore. And I grabbed the gavel, I think probably for the first and only time I used it in 12 meetings, and I slammed it on the table and I said, I will not be part of a negative goal. I will not be part of survival. I am here to succeed. I am not here to survive. Because if you set a goal to survive and you don't quite make it, it's a really bad day. You're done. You're dead. But if you set a goal to succeed and you don't quite make it, you're still in the game. And if you exceed your goals to succeed, then you're really ahead of the game. And so it was a very deciding moment for me in my career. Chip and Dan Heath wrote the book, Power of Moments. And in that book, it talks about the moments in your life of what happened and changed the trajectory of your life. And it was at that moment, and we had another one in a previous recession, which I can talk about if you want to, but I remember that one well, and I remember the other one well too. But it was at that moment that I said, you know what, I'm here to succeed. I'm not here to survive. And so that sort of led into the Great Recession of 2008 to 2011. And really 2006 is when it started in DFW. But anyway, that led to that. And I was actually over in your part of the world. I was in Africa and taking a vacation, and we had a driver and he was driving us around, you know, the different parks and flying different places. And it was a phenomenal trip. But anyway, I was in the back seat, so there's a lot of driving time in this van. And I actually started an outline of success through a recession because we were in the middle of this recession. And what we had done in the previous recessions to get through it, what have we done in the good times, what I call the good times in the book, compared to the tough times and what we had to do in the tough times. And so MBA programs, business schools, seminars and conferences all talk about how to grow a business. They don't talk about how do you build a business so that you're ready for the cyclical business that happens. They don't talk about that. They may talk about what recessions are, but they don't say, here are the hard decisions that have to be made. In the good times, you make hard decisions. And in the tough times, you make hard decisions. They don't teach that. And I wanted to write a book that would help business people around the world to learn how to build a business in the good times, how to save your money, what kind of reserves you need, and then in the tough times, and how to maintain and control your expenses. And then in the good times, what you have to do to get through it. People are important. Systems are important. Planning is critical. Brainstorming other successful people, critical. Consultants are all covered in various chapters of the book that will help people get through those tough times, but just as important, how to build your business in the good times so you're ready for the tough times.
Sounds very good. Okay, I like that a lot. I think that's exactly what makes the difference between just growing it and being successful when everyone else is successful. How do you act in a downtime? Talk about the people. You mentioned that before already. How do you attract the good talent, the people who want to thrive, and also me as a potential employer, also in real estate, how do you make sure that they know that they're incentivized correctly, then they're motivated correctly? Do you have any tips there? Because you have been growing and you have been also making sure that you don't have a high turnover, so people are not leaving. What is your success regarding people?
It starts with your core values, as I mentioned earlier. We have 5 distinct core values. We hire to them, we train to them, we coach to them, we discipline to them, and we terminate to them. And people know that work in our company, that we have that standard of working here. And if you don't abide by, live by, and adhere to the standard of our core values, you don't need to work here, you need to work somewhere else. That's just the way it is. I mean, that's the foundation. And then how do you attract them? A lot of ways. You attract them through marketing. You attract them through a vetting process and the interview process. You attract them through understanding, and I should have said this a minute ago, right after core values comes culture. Culture's talked about in business a lot today. I'm very proud to say that we have a culture statement that's been around for over 40 years, Michael. Our culture statement is we are a diversified group of people that work together as a family and operate like a business. We have been hiring to diversity for well over 40 years, long before it was popular. But do you know, I've never had one media outlets contact me and say, I understand you've been hiring to diversity for 40 years. We want to interview you. No, who do they go to? Somebody that hires a diversity, chairman or director or whatever, because they're trying to get on the bandwagon. No, we've been doing it 40 years. Why have we been doing it? Our core value number 1, honesty and integrity, always do the right thing. It's the right thing to do. That's just it. It's the right thing to do. That's why we speak those 36 different languages. You know, it's the right thing to do. We decided 40 plus years ago, we wanted to mirror our community. And our community is diverse. We have people from all around the world. We want to be able to serve all people, no matter what. We've been raising money for Easter Seals, which is one of our two charity of choices now that we have our own foundation. But we've raised over $4 million for Easter Seals locally. Very proud of that. You know, that's just people with disabilities. That's who they help. So it's all kinds of people. That's it. People are the root of our business. The culture. We're a diversified group of people that work together as a family. If you don't want to work in a family organization, you don't need to work here. If you want a corporate culture, go somewhere else. We're not that. You know, our people have my name and my phone number. They can call me anytime. President and CEO, or any other of our 40 leaders that have over 850 years of real estate experience. And just tie in one more thing. Operate like a business. We got to make payroll. We got to pay rent. So it gets into that compensation plan you kind of hinted at. If we don't have the money to pay our people, we don't have good people. We pay very well. Our people are important to us. They have families, they have goals, they have aspirations in life. We want them to be there. The last 2 days, I have been training, which I do every September. I have a leadership development course. The vast majority of those 40 leaders have gone through our 6 tiers of leadership development. We hire from within, as far as leadership is concerned. We hire from within the company most of the time. Now, there are exceptions, but most of the time, if we have an opening in our leadership team, they're going to come from people that are already in our company and already going through the 6 tiers of our leadership. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate the conversation with you, Jim. You are a highly successful person and have a very strong growth mindset. I really not only respect that, I'm actually very impressed by it, because it is easy to just let go and every morning, not try to do your best. Maybe, as you said before, not try to succeed, but just like survive. And it's this, I think you have internalized and incorporated for yourself the power of habit, which is basically you being a role model to everyone out there and living up to your highest standards, to your highest ambition. I'm really, really impressed by that, to be honest. And I would like to give you a moment for some closing thoughts, something which we might not have missed, which we might have not mentioned. And I will obviously also put the link into the description of your very interesting book, Success Through a Recession.
Well, when I started my real estate career at 18, my father gave me, you don't know what this is, a cassette series, cassette recordings that you could play in a cassette recorder or your car even back then. And of course, now they're all on YouTube. Let me make this very clear. All these things that my dad paid thousands and thousands of dollars for are all on YouTube for free. But he gave me this 12 recordings, 6 cassettes called Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. And I have listened to those 12 recordings hundreds of times throughout my 52 years. The number one cassette is called The Magic Word, and the magic word is attitude. And I've listened to that one whenever I have that emotional, I'm going the wrong way, I'm stressed, things aren't going right, my brain isn't in the right place, a motivational place. That's what I go to and listen to over and over and over and over and over again until I get my head back on straight. The second recording is Greener Pastures, and it's about the book Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And Acres of Diamonds has made a very strong impression on me because, people jump from broker to broker. People jump from business to business. People jump from career to career. I've been in the same career 52 years. I've been in the same company 52 years. We built it from one office and 8 people to where we are today. And it's because we don't give up. We're focused. We're moving in a positive direction. I believe you're either growing or you're dying. And I don't want to die. You know, I'm not ready yet. So I want to grow, and I want our company to grow. And so that is a mindset that my father gave me in that cassette tape, and my mother and father also gave me through their lives and their examples. And so I'm very blessed in that. And I know some people don't have that. You know, let me make it very clear. Many people in our own company. So it's up to us, if they don't have that, to get that. So it's not only how do you sell real estate and how do you build a career, but it's also other things. How do you build a life? How do you build a family? How do you build a debt-free environment for your family so you're not a slave to the lender? All those things are critical. But I'll also add, when my father passed, my oldest sister boxed up all the stuff from their house. And in Christmas, we were able to go and get the secret gifts. She wrapped them all up, and I got a briefcase of my father's with all of his speeches in it. And my father did a lot of speaking. In that briefcase were 3 little books. I'm looking at 3 little books, like journals that he had written in. And I opened up the first little book, one of his little journals. By the way, I have his big journal as well. Very interesting. And but in this little book, it had 3 words. Big letters, it said, pray, then think. Remember, when I wanted to quit college, he said, you never stop learning. You got to read, study, or think an hour a day. So now I'm going to segue those together. Pray, then think. Now I've added 2 more words. Pray, then think, then act. So I believe in divine intervention. I believe that there's a purpose for us all. I believe I'm in the right place for my creator. He put me here for a reason, and I'm doing my best to live up to his expectations. So I do a lot of that praying. I do a lot of that thinking. But at the end of the day, I go to work and I have to act. I have to do the things I got to do to be successful. My friend Brian Buffini, you know, owner, creator of the largest real estate training and coaching company in the country, and he does it around the world now. He says, education without implementation is purely entertainment. Pray, then think, and then act.
Thank you so much for your inspiration. I really like that. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful for your words regarding this one. I will put the contact information for your entire company into the show notes. Is there any other way you would like to have the audience who are listening to reach out to you regarding your contact information?
You know, call me anytime. Area code USA 1-214-502-0250. Jim Fite at judgefite.com. Fite, Judge Fite, Jim Fite. Jim Fite at judgefite.com is my email. I'm here, you know, I get up every morning, I go to work, I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. I don't enjoy it, I love it. And just gonna do it many more years, I hope. That's my prayer anyway. And Michael, I appreciate the honor of being interviewed by you, and you're a fine young man, and wish you well in your career path. And if there's anything I can do for you through that, let me know.
Thank you so much, Jim. It was really great talking to you, and yeah, we definitely stay in touch. Bye-bye.
Good. Bye-bye.
This video is brought to you by Holocasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description.